Again. I'm speaking to you on the 7th of June, a day after the 80th anniversary of the D-Day landings, the landings on the coast of France when the American and United Kingdom troops with other Commonwealth countries and other countries landed in Europe in the sort of start of the um, ending the reign of Hitler. So, D-Day. And I had an uncle that was killed in the First World War, and an uncle of the same name who had his life really ruined by the Second World War. And during my lifetime, I've come across many people who could say the same. And indeed, I worked at the beginning of my working life with a lady whose husband had been killed in in the Second World War, and who had brought up her daughter alone, and who never ever got over that terrible loss of her husband in the war. And so, for me, it was very real, the loss and the suffering of war. And of course, we've been through, when I was chaplain in Poland, only up until recently, we had what 8.5 million refugees from Ukraine coming over because of the war, and they could tell most horrific tales about the loss of friends and family and all the other terrible things which war produced. And so, first of all, we have to remember this week all those who've died in wars and whose lives have been terribly changed by war, and to pray and to work all we can to try to bring a world of peace so that everybody can live full lives happily and know that they are loved, appreciated, and that they can live in safety. Tomorrow we have our garden party, a sort of garden. It's really a tabletop sale in our garden around the church. And it's a wonderful opportunity to meet people, and that's brilliant. But I wanted today to ask you if you would look out for people who are lonely, and especially for people who perhaps are living on their own, might not actually think of themselves as lonely, but who, when there are times when they are ill, do need people to know and to love them and to help them and support them. Obviously, very respecting their dignity and their space and so on. But as well as thinking about those who've been affected by war, rejoicing that we meet many people in our lives, also please look out for those who are suffering through loneliness or through being on their own. It's not the same, but you know what I mean. The little bit of story comes now. And somebody was telling us in our morning prayer this morning. Remember, we have morning prayer every morning at 8 o'clock GMT, 9 o'clock Central European time. Come if you possibly can. Only very short. Let me know if you'd like to come. Only lasts 10 minutes, and then we have 5 minutes to talk, and then we finish. Do come if you possibly can. But during the morning prayer, one of our lovely ladies, Joanna, was saying about a little sort of, it might have probably been on somebody's tombstone, I think. It was a young lady who died at 21, so but such a terribly young age. And it said, she was a flower, but she is now a star. Well, not much of a story, but what it conjures up, what a lovely person she must have been. Once a flower and now a star. So, very short story today. You could write a lot about that. I love these 6 word stories actually. If you can write a story in 6 words, it can be very, very evocative. The sort of story, like I think it was Hemingway who wrote this story where it said, baby's booties for sale, never used. Well, what the story encompassed in that? Baby's booties for sale, never used. And this lady, a flower, now a star. Bless you. Continue to be the wonderful person you are. Continue to bring happiness to those you meet. And remember that you and they are wonderful, important, and much loved. God bless.